Well, ladies and gentlemen, you might want to get your Zamzam water real quick. You might want to get your holy water real quick, because after we heard the news of Pope Francis passing away, we're now hearing about the Antichrist. It is trending on the internet. Judgment Day is trending on the internet. The end of days is trending on the internet. Jesus' return is trending on the internet. If you're new here, you do not have to subscribe. You do not have to like the video. Let's actually jump right into it, because we also have Nostradamus prediction. I want to play you that clip, and to give you like a quick little context here. This is what everybody's talking about on the internet. Is this the end of the world as we know it? The prophecy of the popes, a 900-year-old recent manuscript, is believed by some to predict the pontiff and the end of the world. Let's get to it. Wait for it. Roll it.
Locals and visitors alike were completely caught off guard by the news.
I felt so sad when I read that Pope died, because he died all of a sudden.
It was a bit shocking because we planned to visit the Vatican today.
Yeah, damn.
Pope Francis's death follows weeks of updates from the Vatican indicating slow and steady improvements in his health since leaving hospital after a 38-day stay for double pneumonia. The pontiff's passing less than 24 hours after his appearance at Easter Sunday Mass.
You know what's crazy is that I've been getting like a lot of your guys' comments, because just the other day we made a video and in that video, I will link you that, don't worry about it. I will link you the pinned comment and towards the end of this one. But in that video, there was one segment, all right, and we were reacting, we were discussing, and the segment was all about them practicing the funeral of Pope Francis before his passing. Yeah, so it was actually crazy. I'll link you that video at the end, all right? Wait for it.
Blessing worshippers, albeit with a weakened voice.
Cari fratelli e sorelle.
Francis calling for an end to all wars, in particular what he called a deplorable humanitarian situation in Gaza.
We were delighted to see him yesterday morning, but truthfully, all of the priests who were present for the Mass, there was a sigh amongst us all when we heard his voice. It was so weak.
Carissimi fratelli e sorelle.
The Vatican said Francis died at 7:35 a.m., later revealing he died of a stroke and heart failure and had fallen into a coma. Reaction came in from every corner of the globe. Yeah. King Charles and Queen Camilla, who met with Francis this month, called the Pope's death devastating. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia...
And you know what, like, another thing that's trending, and people are like pointing their fingers, people are just going crazy. I've seen like insane comments today, all right, all over the internet, all right. Yeah, and it's to do with JD Vance. So people are memeing and people are joking and people are also pointing fingers, and people are also for real calling JD Vance the Antichrist as well, because he was one of the first, one of the last, or if not the last, or one of the last to have met with Pope Francis before he passed away. So yeah, a lot of people are calling that out. I'm sure you guys seen all that on the internet. But
Maloney, who visited him in hospital, said it was a privilege to share a friendship with the Pope. And the president of his native Argentina, Javier Milei, said it was an honor to know the Pope, despite their ideological differences.
And we're learning tonight that the Pope made special requests about his funeral, including that he not be buried here at St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican, as is tradition, but instead at Rome's Basilica of St. Mary Major. He asked that his tomb be...
If any of you know about, maybe there is some significance with that, which I'm not aware. If you know, put it in the comments.
Simple and without particular decoration. And we understand that that tomb and the burial will be funded by a private, unnamed benefactor. The Vatican, meanwhile, says that the Pope's body will be brought here to St. Peter's Basilica as early as Wednesday for mourners to pay their respects. No date has been set as of yet for the funeral. Donna?
Okay, let's actually get down to the Nostradamus prediction, and then I want to dive into like some other stuff where they're talking about the Dajjal coming, the Antichrist. This is what I'm saying, man. Grab your holy water, bruh. Grab your Zamzam real quick. Because, yeah, we definitely live in... Listen, man, nobody can predict the end times, though. You know what I mean? Like, if you're religious, you know you cannot predict. If anybody tells you that they know when the end time is coming, run! Run! Nobody can predict it. Whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're... a follower of another faith, you cannot. And if you're an atheist, I mean, you probably don't believe none of it, right? Which is perfectly all right. But I mean, because that's your belief, right? So yeah, but even if you're religious, you cannot believe in. Yeah, nobody can predict it. But here's the thing, though: a lot of signs are coming true, and it is always fascinating to hear and talk about these things. And also, yeah, I mean, these may not be the end times, or these may be, but one thing is for certain: we definitely are living in strange times with disclosure that's happening with the UFOs, the aliens. That's the one thing. On the other hand, you got the AI stuff going crazy too, right? And a lot of people also, yeah, like, I want to get your input on this real quick. Do you think AI is gonna be the Antichrist? Because a lot of people do believe, and they are convinced, that AI is gonna be the true Antichrist. To a certain degree, I can understand why, but personally, I don't think the AI will be the Antichrist. Maybe the Antichrist is gonna use the AI to help that goal move further, perhaps, like Dajjal and all that, right? But yeah, because based off of the religious scriptures and texts, right, it seems like that it's gonna be a biological creature, right? Like, it's gonna be alive, not necessarily AI, which is may or may not be alive. I mean, point is, we're living in crazy times, okay? That one I can agree with, but are we really living in end times? Let's find out. So Nostradamus' prophecy on Pope Francis' death comes true? Question mark. That's the title of the video. Roll it. Did Nostradamus predict Pope Francis' death? Nostradamus' predictions about Pope's death comes true? Question mark. Okay. All about Nostradamus' shocking prophecy about Vatican's collapse. Has the prophecy come true? Nostradamus' chilling prediction resurfaced as Vatican faces a moment of reckoning. Alright, let's get to it. Cut to the chase. The Vatican announced the passing of Pope Francis, the first Latin American and Jesuit, is that how you say? Pope, at the age of 88. My bad if I butchered it. No disrespect though. The experts are revisiting Nostradamus' predictions with speculation that he may have foretold the death of Pope Francis and his successor. Okay. The 16th century French astrologer, often called the Prophet of Doom, is believed to have... Okay, let's get to it. Okay, the appetizer is way too long now. Let's get to it. Cut to the chase. Predicted major historical events, including... that's true though. That's true. So, I don't want to say that word on YouTube, especially in a video like this. I can say, but the video is gonna get hit, okay? Hitler's rise, the 9 and Japan's earthquake. Okay, I'm not too familiar with the 19 Rona situation and Japan's earthquake being predicted by him, but I definitely have heard, he was saying that the two steel birds would hit the towers, something like that, right? And that prediction was crazy indeed. So it is true that Nostradamus have gotten stuff right. What about the stuff that he didn't get right? That one I'm not familiar with, but people often say that there is a lot of other stuff that he said has not come true. Or maybe, yes, it has not come true, meaning it may actually in the future. So that's always another side of the discussion, but let's continue. One particular passage referring to the weakening of the papal seat and the destruction. Okay, so perhaps that's the one linked with it. Of the city of Seven Hills has gained renewed attention following the death of Pope Francis at 88. Nostradamus wrote, and I quote, "Through the death of a very old pontiff, a Roman of good age will be elected." Oh shit, okay. Now we're really getting into it. in the months leading up to his passing, concern about Pope Francis' health had already stirred prophetic whispers. Now, believers of Nostradamus point to the prophetic line that the, and I quote, new pope will weaken his see but have a long tenure. Ooh, end quote. And yeah, that's the thing. So the video that I was talking about where, you know, Pope Francis and people around him were practicing his funeral before his passing, even in that video, we were reacting and discussing about the idea of, or the prophecy rather, that says that there's something to do with 112th Pope, 113th or 111th Pope, that the next one is gonna be the Antichrist. I mean, that's kind of like the prophecy. I'll link you that video, right? And maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. If you do, put it in the comments. Yeah, so I mean, we're really living in crazy times, man. But how would you know, like, Dajjal is here or the Antichrist is here? How would you know, though? Would it be, like, crystal clear, or would it be like, okay, because, yeah, like, you guys know this already. A lot of people already call Trump the Antichrist. Okay, JD Vance, people call him the Antichrist. People did call Obama the Antichrist, too. It seems like that mostly all the US presidents, or whoever becomes the US president, in recent times, people just call them the Antichrist, depending on whether they like him or not, right? So yeah, it's crazy, but how would we know, though? You know what I mean? It's gonna be interesting, though. It's gonna be interesting. As the world watches for news of his successor, speculation around the accuracy of Nostradamus' visions continue to start the debate. Not the, but actually, the start debate, okay? I want to shout out the homie Blackwoods. Check this one out. Roll it.
One of the most terrifying prophecies has now officially come true. Pope Francis was just announced dead a couple hours ago, and everyone around the world are extremely scared about the prophecy that has now officially come true. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of Saint Malachy, who prophesies that the Roman Catholic Church will only have 112 popes before the final judgment day, and this is the time.
Okay, the question is, was Pope Francis 112th or was he 111th? Let me actually Google that real quick.
When the Saint Malachy's prophecy also states that now we will finally see Antichrist rising into power. Now, if you go down here to the Pope Malachy's prophecy, that you'll actually see that it is prophesied that after the death of the final Pope, which is supposed to be Pope Francis, there will be the one last Pope who's going to get elected, who's supposedly...
Okay, so this is an AI answer, so I don't know how true is that. Pope Francis was the 266th Pope. I don't think that's true, but... not the 111th. I just Google, okay, what was Pope Francis? What, how do I search that? What number Pope Francis was, or okay, what's the, let me start. Okay, let me try.
According to the prophecy, is going to be named as Peter. That the last pope before Peter the Roman comes to lead the church through the trials and tribulations before the destruction of Rome and the final judgment. Now, the final statement in the passage states that in the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church, there will reign Peter the Roman, who's supposed to be the next guy after the demise of Pope Francis, who will pasture sheep and will be greatly persecuted after the seven-hilled city, which will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge the people, and that's going to be the end of the world. Now, after a couple of research, they actually found out that the seven-hilled city that they were talking about in this prophecy is nothing but the city of Rome. So it seems like somehow after the death of Pope Francis, there's going to be this new guy named Petrus the Roman, otherwise also known as Peter the Roman. Now, obviously, a lot of people were very skeptical in order to accept this prophecy. They said that it might even be some sort of a hoax because there is no reliable proofs or whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I mean, nobody knows whether. So, yeah, tranquilo. Like, do not believe everything you hear on the internet, especially like I just Googled. The AI is saying 266 Pope, which I don't think it's true. But so yeah, you cannot really rely on AI. Or what if AI is really the Antichrist? and it's giving us the wrong information. You know what I'm saying? It could be that too, bro.
And the next candidates who are going to be selected to be the next pope are number one, guy named Peter Turkson, and then we have Louis Tangle, and from Hungary we have Peter Erdo. And currently it seems like Vatican has already decided that Peter Erdo is going to be like the temporary pope until like all the situation is solved, and until they pick like the next official pope. He's going to be like the temporary pope that's going to do all the work that a pope should. Now this right here is what the entire world is shocked about. It seems like there are 3 different guys that are supposed to be the successors, and out of 3, both the guys are named as Peter. And that's what the prophecy also says, that after Pope Francis there will be a guy named Peter the Roman, and he's going to be the final one who's going to be persecuted heavily, and this is going to be the time when the judgment day.
I did not see that coming. Yeah, I did not realize. Yeah, that's crazy, right? So I was reading this too. Yeah, it did mention Peter, right? Peter. Yeah, Peter the Roman. Oh my God. So Nostradamus is also have said to have predicted that Peter the Roman will take over. Oh shit! Oh shit! Yo, that is crazy. Yeah, I did not. Yeah. Bro, I read that thing right before making this video. And I covered this part in the very beginning of this video, right? But I did not go through this one. But I actually read it before I started making the video. Shit, that's crazy. Yo, okay, I'm mind blown right now. I'm invested right now. I'm invested.
Is going to arrive, and the prophecy also states that this is when the second coming of Christ is going to be happening very soon, and it is also when the Antichrist is going to be rising up into power. Now actually take a look at what's going on here.
The Pope has just passed away, but something bigger is happening behind the scenes. So this moment is making global headlines, but while people are mourning the death of Pope Francis, there's an ancient legend that's resurfacing that few people are talking about. Outside the walls in Rome, deep within the Basilica of St. Paul, there's a long hall of mosaic portraits. So this is not just a fine art gallery. This is a painting, a portrait of every pope that has ever been in position.
So they have like these plates that are like stuck on the wall. On each plate, they have like all the different popes that has ever existed so far. And also what's surprising is that after Pope Francis, there's one empty plate, which kind of relates very much to the Saint Malachy's prophecy, where he also prophesies that after Pope Francis, there will be no other pope. There's just going to be this one guy named Peter the Roman. And during his reign as pope, the world is going to be ending. God is going to be judging. The Antichrist will be raising up, and the second coming will indeed happen. And watch this, because right
here's
now,
the part you're not going to believe. So Pope Francis's face was added years ago, but now that he's passed, there's only one space left. That's right.
That's true.
There's one blank space remaining for the next pope.
Yo!
And so this is the ancient legend.
a lot of people are actually concerned right after giving his final blessings during Easter, and apparently a lot of people are saying
it will be all right. It will be all right, man. It will be all right.
That there could be various different reasons as to why he particularly had to die. We don't really know if it's a good omen or a bad omen. That's something that people of Vatican are terrified about. I'm going to play a small clip of my previous video where I explain on how they're going to be picking the next pope and what are the signs that you'll actually get to see. And after the 112th pope, we will finally get to see the Antichrist rising to power, and he's going to be revealing himself. Now, obviously, take a look at all the things that's happening around us in the world. Euphrates River is completely drying up, which is also something that was already prophesied in Ezekiel's revelation. And it's not just that, we also saw deserts becoming forest, and there's also blizzard, snowstorm all over.
Yeah, this is the video that I had that segment in my other video too, right?
The Saudi Arabia in the middle of desert.
And there was one other, which I'll link you in a minute.
Which is something that just seems so impossible to happen. And we also saw rivers gushing out of deserts, which is also something the prophecy has stated. And the prophecy also says that water will be turning red blood color. And we are also seeing these things happen right now. And one of the most important things is that Israel has already announced that they are sacrificing the 5 red heifers, which is already revealed to Ezekiel in Revelations, where he got to see that Israel was indeed sacrificing 5 red heifers, and there will be a massive all-out scale war throughout the entire world because of this stuff, and then they're going to be building the third Solomon temple, and after that the Jews believe that their Messiah is going to show up. But then in reality, according to Ezekiel, the Messiah that people have been waiting for is going to be the second coming of Christ. And nobody knows who this person could be. A lot of people are going to be applying for the post, of course, but then there's going to be this one person that will get elected, and the way that they announce to the entire world is using this smoke which is going to come out of the chimney. If you see a white smoke coming out of the chimney, this means that the new pope has been selected. Now, if there is black smoke coming out of the chimney, then this means that the decision is still pending, and they haven't yet found.
Yeah, that's the crazy one, man. That is the crazy one. That is crazy one. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on it. I mean, I don't think we're in the end. I mean, we technically nobody knows, right? But the point is that I don't think we are. But if we are, shit, man. Born too late to see the 90s. Born too early for the. Born too early to explore the stars. Born just in time for the end times, ladies and gentlemen. Bruh. You know what I'm saying? But this was that video that I was talking about. And this one, you're gonna find out a lot of other stuff, and also them setting up the funeral or practicing the funeral before his passing. Click on this video on the screen and I'll see you right there.